How's it going, Menham family? And right off the bat, I'm gonna jump right into it. My girl Lucy is in that little tub right there, but only just for a little bit because I am officially gonna be moving her into a much bigger tank here, you guys. It's a 20-gallon Zilla tank here. So, because obviously you guys noticed over time, Lucy really started to outgrow her 10-gallon enclosure here. So, it's obviously time for an upgrade, and she's not gonna actually stop growing anytime soon. So, I'm gonna go ahead and actually take all of the stuff out of her enclosure, you guys, and then try and move it into here eventually. So, but let me know in the comments below and tell me, how do you think her enclosure is gonna look, because I don't know what to expect. But nonetheless though, I'm gonna go ahead and get some bedding for her and go ahead and add it into this enclosure. So it's actually gonna be a very epic day. So, but it's actually kind of getting late, so, but not, I don't care. Let's go ahead and get it. Alright, you guys, her enclosure is all set up, so let's go ahead and see how she reacts to it. Alright, girl, you ready to come on out? It's gonna be okay, alright? You're doing great. Alright, here you go, sweetie. I know it's not quite that decorative yet, but over time though, I'll go ahead and actually add some more features in her cage here in the upcoming weeks. So, oop, gotta get this cord out of the way. That was a total embarrassment. My fault on that one, folks. But nonetheless though, she's going to go ahead and she's obviously looking around like, hey, what's going on now? But over time though, in maybe a couple more days, she'll probably get used to this. So, but at the meantime though, I mean, I get this side of the enclosure is kind of nice looking, but if you look over here, you guys probably notice it's not that well, what's the word for it? Not well detailed. So, and that's because this cage alone cost me close to $100. So, but over time though, hopefully we can add some more decorations in here, you guys, because obviously this girl is just not gonna want to, you know, sit in a completely empty, like half-empty tank. So, but let me know what you guys think in the comments below, because this is a good upgrade for Lucy, because you guys can see how big she's getting already. So, and plus that 10-gallon behind me, she's not gonna stand there forever. And speaking of that tank, you guys, you're probably gonna be wondering, well, what are you gonna do with this enclosure? Well, the truth is, I think I may have a perfect one that's gonna go in it. I'm not exactly sure if that one is gonna be comfortable in it, but it's worth a try. So, but fingers crossed that it succeeds, and hopefully it works out well. So let's go ahead and see if they like it. But right now, first things first though, I gotta go ahead and disinfect the bedding because Lucy's kind of left a bit of a mess. I actually decided to go ahead and scratch that idea, you guys. I hate to say it, but I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of this enclosure now. Unfortunately, even though I don't want to, but at the same time, you guys, if I do want to add one of my animals into the enclosure, it's just, if you look around my room, you guys, it is just completely filled up. There is absolutely no room for one more tank to be added in here, so I have no choice but to dispose it. So it is kind of unfortunate that I have to do that, but at the same time, that's just how I gotta go. So, but nonetheless though, I'm really glad though Lucy just got an upgrade, you guys, and she's still checking it out, and hopefully, like I said, maybe in a few more weeks we can add a few more little decorative plants in there, and the environment will look a lot more nice looking. So, but yeah, let me know what your guys' thoughts are in the comments below, because I really want her to enjoy this enclosure as much. Today's vlog is going to be a little bit different here. It's something that I don't recall ever doing on this channel, so I think I'm going to go ahead and actually share it with you in just a moment. But before we get into it, you guys, can you do me a favor and smash that like button, you guys? And if you are actually just new to this channel too, make sure to smash that subscribe button for me, and also turn on that notification bell while you're at it too. So we'll go ahead and get started right now with these top few invasive reptiles that are found in South Florida. So the most common invasive reptile that people have mentioned and seen many times before in the state of Florida is the Burmese python. And now Burmese pythons have literally been in South Florida for almost like 3 decades now. And how these snakes got down there exactly, it goes back to 1992. And when that happened in August of 92, a devastating Category 5 hurricane named Andrew struck the Miami metro area overnight. And when the hurricane went directly over the Miami City area, there was a breeding facility in town that had hundreds of Burmese pythons actually being sold inside that building that was completely destroyed by the storm. And sadly, that building being completely demolished by the hurricane, hundreds of those snakes got loose and they fled right towards the Everglades. And that's kind of how this invasive species thing started with these pythons. But as time went on, though, some people actually have been caught a few times actually trying to intentionally release some of their pet Burmese pythons into the Everglades because they don't want to take care of them anymore. But you know, obviously everyone knows releasing a species not native to your area is a serious crime. So, and now that for the last like 12, 15 years now, Burmese pythons in the state of Florida have been banned from being sold in the pet trade to people in Florida without a FWC permit. And if you are caught with one without an FWC permit, you could be facing a few years in prison. So it's not probably the best idea. But now, flash forwarding now here to 2022, 30 years later, the invasive species thing going on with these pythons, it is still ongoing, and unfortunately the population has dramatically increased. Even though the exact number of Burmese pythons in the Everglades is not completely known, but we certainly can say it is definitely somewhere in the tens of thousands of them. Even though the media probably kind of exaggerates it a little bit, saying there could be as many as like several 100,000 of them. But the exact number, they don't know for certain, you guys, because the Everglades, believe it or not, located right on the southern west tip of the state of Florida, it's the largest, like, wetland ecosystem, like, swampland in the United States, that stretches more than 20 miles, you guys. And there's no way you're going to be able to cover 20 miles and discover several 100,000 pythons there. That's just not going to happen. So the exact number is obviously unknown. But certainly, though, Burmese pythons, it doesn't seem like they're going to be, unfortunately, going to be going away down there anytime soon. Next up is the Cuban brown anole. And now, these cute little lizards have been already pretty well established throughout the state of Florida for like more than 50 years. And originally, these little lizards somehow accidentally stowed away on a cargo ship from Cuba to Florida. And ever since then, they've just been pretty well established. These guys, though, they do not get big whatsoever. They only get maybe like 7-8 inches long at max, but they are thriving so well now that the native green anoles in Florida are kind of actually starting to lose track of their number. People are starting to decrease in population because of these Cuban brown anoles, and they're kind of pushing the green ones actually off the ground, whereas these Cuban brown anoles, they are literally everywhere in Florida. No matter where you're going to be at in Florida, you're going to see them. Well, whether it's on your sidewalk, up on a palm tree, or even on the side of your house down in Florida, you guys, they're everywhere. Trust me. Every time I've gone down to Florida, I have seen these little guys all over the place. It's literally insane how much there are down there. So there's no way to eradicate these whatsoever. But despite how cute they are, there's just too many of them to eradicate. So, but hopefully the native green anoles, hopefully they'll find a way to bounce back in their native habitat, though. Another famous invasive reptile that's found actually in South Florida, you guys, is the green iguana. And everybody that is huge into reptiles knows about green iguanas, and they are literally another very popular pet reptile in the pet trade here in the country. But the problem is that in the state of Florida, though, as well, is that green iguanas within just in the last couple of years have officially been banned actually from being sold at pet stores down there because their population down in South Florida is just continuing to expand. And despite how harmless these lizards look, they can still cause damage to the ecosystem out there in the wilderness, you guys. And these guys are mostly herbivores, but they can eat some of the native insects, including one of which is, I believe, an endangered species in the Miami area. And it's literally spreading so much, you guys, and there's really almost no way to eradicate these iguanas at this point. But at the same time, though, a lot of people have noticed lately when the coldest time of the year arrives in South Florida, it really is surprising because a lot of people start seeing these green iguanas falling out of trees, and it's literally so bizarre. It's almost like raining cats and dogs almost, but this is actually because of the temperature outside. And green iguanas, for being a tropical native to South America, these guys require very humid and require very warm temperatures. And when temperatures drop below 40 degrees Fahrenheit, whether it's day or night, these guys literally will shiver up and stiffen, you guys. They will freeze solid, and they will basically fall out of a tree if they can't get any grip. So, but when the temperature then starts to re-warm up, you guys, that's when they start to actually unthaw. Kind of like when it's wintertime here and frogs are trying to brumate, they can't really move, you guys, until it's all, the ice is thawed out and the frost is all gone. So it's kind of similar to that way with iguanas, but iguanas, though, they are a very common invasive species in South Florida, and like I said, their invasive range is still spreading, and like we said, there's very little we can do to eradicate the invasion of these green iguanas. Okay, so the last invasive reptile that I'm going to actually share with you guys, and it's something, this specific reptile really doesn't get talked about a whole lot, but I feel like it needs to be addressed. And this is widely one of the most popular pet chameleons in the pet trade here in the country, but it is an invasive species in South Florida, and I'm going to talk about the veiled chameleon. And everyone has ever seen a chameleon in their pet shop. It probably is a veiled chameleon, and these guys are native to parts of Saudi Arabia and Yemen, and their habitat and humidity and temperatures there share pretty much the same thing as South Florida. And while these guys recently were established as an invasive species, maybe like 10-15 years ago, maybe somewhere around there, maybe further back than that, honestly, but a lot of these lizards some of them were turned loose as pets by some people. And it's something about Florida, you guys. I don't know what it is with people that own exotic pets down there in Florida. Not all of them, but there are a few out there that really are irresponsible out there, to be honest with you, that want to turn these animals loose because they don't know what to do with them. But yet there are so many animal zoos and sanctuaries throughout the state of Florida that you could literally bring your animal to, and they'll take it in and take care of it. So, but back to about the veiled chameleon, you guys. These guys, their population is expanding, and these guys are out competing the other native lizards down in Florida that are eating the insects and plants, all that stuff down there. So, even though, despite how popular and inexpensive these chameleons are, they're kind of a bit of a pest down there in South Florida. But nonetheless, though, I still think they're absolutely adorable looking. But that is all the invasive species, you guys, that I can share with you. But there's a whole ton of invasive critters down in Florida that I wish I could do a list on, but this vlog would be like 3 hours long. So, but nonetheless, though, tell me which one you guys are very familiar with down there in the Florida southern part area. So, because obviously the most common one is Burmese pythons, but I think there are some out there that other people have heard of as well. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for today's vlog here, you guys. I get that, you know, Florida has so many exotic invasive creatures down there, but there's reasons why there are many reptile educators out there that want to educate the public to let them know that not all reptiles make great pets, you guys, because there are a few out there that don't make great pets at all out there. So consider that as a valuable lesson, you guys, and it's always best to listen to some professional wildlife enthusiasts out there. So with that being said, I'm just gonna go ahead and end the vlog here, you guys. So I'll promise I'll see y'all in the next one.